In this lecture, we will see about Introduction to International Commercial Arbitration. Basically, international commercial arbitration is the type of arbitration which is along with the domestic arbitration. The domestic arbitration simply means the arbitration which takes place between the same jurisdictional parties. The type of arbitration is called as a domestic arbitration. But where in the international commercial arbitration, at least one of the party belongs to the outside of the jurisdiction to the particular state. So the type of arbitration is called as an international commercial arbitration. So this topic is a very pertinent topic in the basic jurisprudence in the arbitration. So the most of the arbitrations which are international commercial arbitration in the present era of jurisprudence relating to the arbitration law. So in case of you people see my slides, uh, before dealing of the introduction to international commercial arbitration, first of all, we should know about various types of alternative dispute resolution methods. So in case of I move to my next slide, various alternative dispute resolutions include arbitration, mediation, conciliation, negotiation, and judicial settlement. There are many like mini trial, pre-neutral evaluation, etc. But the basic alternative dispute resolutions, we can say these methods, as I said. So, what is an arbitration? Arbitration is an alternative dispute resolution mechanism and which is binding in nature, where the third neutral arbitrator which deals the particular dispute, but the dispute submitted by the parties. So whatever the dispute submitted by the parties to the third neutral party means arbitrator. A single arbitrator means a sole arbitrator, or a panel of arbitrators, which means which is in the odd number 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. So the submitted dispute by the parties to the particular arbitral tribunal by way of arbitration agreement, the arbitration procedure which will be conducted by the arbitral tribunal. So what is an arbitral tribunal? Arbitral tribunal is consists a number of panel of arbitrators, whether it may be a sole arbitrator or panel of arbitrators. So the submitted dispute, according to the choices made by the parties in the arbitration agreement, the arbitral tribunal which will govern the particular dispute and which decides the arbitral award. The arbitral award is binding in nature. The remaining alternative dispute resolutions, which are not binding, but the arbitration, which is binding in nature. So let me further move quickly in relation to the arbitration is concerned. So arbitration may be further divided into, as I said in the few minutes back, so domestic arbitration and international commercial arbitration, it depends upon the jurisdiction of the seat. Apart from that, we may further divide arbitration into ad hoc arbitration and institutional arbitration. In the further slides, I will deal about those types of arbitration, specifically how it will be settled. But basically, we need to remember arbitration, which is binding in nature. It will be implemented as like a decree of the court. In code of civil procedure, the decree of the court, which is very familiar. So as like as decree of the court, the arbitral award, which will be binding in nature. So coming to the mediation where the third neutral party which facilitates the parties to the mediation. So only the neutral party, the third party means which is a neutral, which will not give any suggestion directly or indirectly to the parties. Only the mediator role is a facilitation role where he doesn't have any role, but through the consensus, in case the parties reaches to the settlement agreement in the mediation, then that is binding in nature. But in case of the parties does not able to reach consensus in the mediation process, so that will not be binding in nature. So basically, after the Singapore Convention 2019, the more paramorsity, it means which I am trying to tell, more authenticity which given to the settlement agreements which are reached under the mediation, which are binding in nature. India is also in consultation of making a separate law for mediation in relation to the mediation and mediation binding effects, particularly mediation settlement agreements is concerned. As of now, we doesn't have a specific legislation on the mediation. So basically, mediation where the neutral which will facilitate the parties to reach a better conclusion, to reach a settlement agreement. So, but the neutrals suggestions which are not binding against the parties, right? Only the role is a facilitation, not nothing more than that. Coming to the conciliation, conciliation is a some more extra in comparison to the mediation, where the along with the facilitation in conciliation, the conciliator which will suggest some of the measures to the parties to the particular conciliation, then the part that is depends upon the parties. The parties may listen to the conciliator or may not listen to the conciliator, but in the conciliation process, the neutral means the conciliator, which may suggest some of the measures need to be taken in the conciliation settlement agreement, but it depends upon the parties to take into consideration or doesn't take into consideration. So the conciliation in case of reaches settlement agreement, which is again binding in nature in case of the parties through consensus, which derived an agreement, settlement. We have Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, Part 3 of the Conciliation Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, which governs the provisions relating to the conciliation. We remember, we doesn't have the mediation law, but the conciliation provisions we do have, right? So, and again, we can derive conciliation into two types: institutional conciliation and non-institutional conciliation. Uh, by saying the historical in the 1779 during late 18th century in France, the first time the conciliation word which has been used, and later on in the 19th century, in the late 18th century, in United Kingdom, the conciliation word which has been mostly used, and in America, United States of America. So the conciliation, which is in the particularly in the labor disputes in the after the Industrial Revolution, in the right, which has been used in the 18th and 19th century. So. Conciliation can be institutional conciliation and non-institutional conciliation. The institutional conciliation, which will be depend upon certain type of institutional rules, institutional conciliation rules, and non-institutional conciliation, which will be derived through the specific the parties which appoint their conciliator, the conciliator which derives and facilitates more something more than mediation, right? So coming to the negotiation, a negotiation which is only the parties derived centric of an alternative dispute resolution. So in the negotiation, the parties themselves negotiate between them and they reaches to the particular solution. So there is no role of the any particular third neutral evaluator, but the parties themselves which sit and which reaches to specific conclusion in relation to their specific dispute. That's all about a negotiation. Judicial settlement is also the process of alternative dispute resolution. So the judicial settlement basically which do by the judicial authority from the state, like we have Legal Services Authority Act 1987. So under that there is a concept like Lok Adalat. So the particularly the basically the one judge from the judiciary means the judicial authorities which settles their dispute outside of the courtroom. That type of settlement between the parties to the particular dispute is called as judicial settlement. So there is a legislative effect to the judicial settlement in relation to the particularly this concept is concerned. One of the method, as I said, Legal Service Authority Act 1987. So basically, in case of we reiterate the alternative dispute resolutions, arbitration, which is binding in nature, the arbitral award as like a decree of the court, which is enforceable, then mediation. The third party means the neutral, which will facilitate the parties to the dispute to reach a settlement agreement. Once it reaches the settlement agreement by the parties to the dispute, uh, then it will be binding. Otherwise, it will not be binding. The role of mediator only is a facilitation, but conciliation is concerned. So the conciliator, which will im- uh, tell the parties, this may be a better solution in comparison with the mediation. But again, that is depends upon the parties which may listen or which may not listen what the conciliator said. So conciliation can be institutional conciliation and non-institutional conciliation. Institutional conciliation, which will be depend upon the rules of the particular institution, right? Negotiation, which the parties themselves which negotiate regarding the particular dispute, that is negotiation. Judicial settlement, which where the little bit the state organ which will involve the judiciary, means the judicial officer which tries to settle the particular dispute among the parties. Maybe some of the legislation which may involve like Legal Service Authority Act 1987. This is the part of judicial settlement. Whereas somewhat other procedures also there, like mini trial. Mini trial is not an exact trial of the court. The mini trial is the process from the pre-trial process. Once starting of before the trial, pre-trial, there may be mini trial, specifically like the issues like patent infringement, anti-competitive agreements, contractual obligations, and two specific disputes, and where the cost of litigation which will be more. In those categories is concerned, the mini trial may be applicable. The mini trial is the process. The important thing under the mini trial is the expert evidence which will not submit to the neutral. The expert evidence and evidence particularly which will submit to the particularly to the parties to the dispute. That is the very important thing under the mini trial. So it is a pre-trial procedure, and the parties themselves may reach to a certain conclusion relating to the understanding of the particular dispute, which generally which depends upon the facts of particular dispute and facts particular law of the dispute, right? The consideration relating to the facts and law, right? These all are the concepts of alternative dispute resolution. Let me speak about something relating to the arbitration before going to the definition of the international commercial arbitration. Yeah, as I said, arbitration, which is binding, right? Very different from the all type of alternative dispute resolutions. Nature of arbitration in case of we see, so, and let me give some historical background relating to the arbitration. So, in India, prior to Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, we were have three different legislations which relating to the arbitration. Number one, we have the Arbitration Act 1940 and the Arbitration and Protocol and Convention Act 1937 and the Foreign Awards Recognition and Enforcement Act 1961. These three legislations we used to govern the arbitration and its jurisprudence. But after the Unilateral Model Law 1985, the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law, which given a model law means which is the necessary because the WTO which came into the existence. So and the UNICETRAL is the body to the United Nations General Assembly, which gives a model law to the specific subjects like international, like sale of goods, like is also one of the subject, and international commercial arbitration is one of the pertinent area in relating to the international trade law. The particular body means the body from General Assembly in 1985, which given a model law. So basically, which the model law came into picture 1985. India also signatory to the particular convention, to the particular model law. India ratified that. So because of the ratification done by India, so India changed the jurisprudence of arbitration law, and which turned to the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. Prior to this act, as I said, three legislations we used to have for a different part, for the different legislation which governs. So the domestic arbitration, the Arbitration Act 1940, which governs. For entering into the arbitration agreement relating to the international commercial arbitration in a outside of the seat of India, which governs by the Protocol and Convention Act, the Arbitration Protocol and Convention Act 1937. And another important step in arbitration is the recognition of the arbitral award. The recognition of the arbitral award, which will be done through the different legislations before 1996 Act. In case of the domestic award recognition through anyway, the Arbitration Act 1940, which governs, but the foreign seated arbitral award, which recognizes and enforces through the Foreign Awards Recognition and Enforcement Act 1961. So let me talk about something relating to the present Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. Basically, the present act, which is the root cause of unilateral model of 1985, almost exactly we derived almost every provision which we have taken from the particular model law, because of the in order to get similarity with the international provisions relating to the international commercial arbitration and arbitration jurisprudence is concerned. So the present act, which will be dealing relating to the which were derived into certain parts. The part one of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, which governs relating to the arbitration which seated in India. Just be remember, it is very important to know that part one of the Arbitration Act, which governs relating to the arbitration seated in India, whether it is irrespective of it is a domestic arbitration and irrespective of it is international commercial arbitration. The arbitration which governs in India is seated in India, which governed by the part one. The part two of the act, which talks about the recognition and enforcement of the foreign seated arbitral award, right? And part three, which talks about conciliation, and part four, which talks about supplementary provisions. But recently, through the Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Act 2019, so the amendment which came because of the high level committee of the institutionalization of arbitration in India, which given report in 2017. On the basis of the report, the government which enacted the Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Act 2019, which added Part 1A to the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, which given an overview relating to the Arbitration Council of India. So they are going to establish Arbitration Council of India, which will promote the institutional arbitration, right, and which will give certification to the arbitrators, which will give training to the arbitrators, which graded the arbitral institutions, which professionalization of the arbitration and institutional arbitration, which will be done through the particularly after the incorporation of the part 1A in the original Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 through the this amendment 2019. Right. So somewhat the legislature, which talking now about institutional arbitration. This is a welcome measure. So right. So this is somewhat the legislative brief history in relation to the international arbitration and domestic arbitration, international commercial arbitration. There are these are the different types of terminologies which existed. Let me talk about something relating to the types of arbitration. The types of arbitration, which will be ad hoc arbitration and institutional arbitration. Again, like I said, institutional conciliation and non-institutional conciliation, the arbitration is also these two different types. Ad hoc arbitration is the arbitration which completely derives from the parties' autonomy, but in the institutional arbitration, the parties' autonomy still exists as to the institution the arbitral dispute which will submit by the parties through their arbitration agreement, right? There also they have to choose different choices. But in the ad hoc arbitration, which every procedure and every step which will be governed through the arbitration agreement, so whatever which written by the parties in the arbitration agreement, those things which will prevail under the ad hoc arbitration. Ad hoc arbitration means simply the parties appoints their arbitral tribunal, the appointed arbitral tribunal which will conduct their arbitration and which will make an arbitral award that will be binding after the passage of time. In case of it not set aside by the court, then we remember. So here it is clear in arbitration. Arbitration is a private adjudication, not public adjudication. Private adjudication, like other EDR mechanisms, also private adjudication. But in arbitration, even though it is a private adjudication, the state sanctions are existed. So during the procedure, anybody may approach the court relating to the interim measures. Even before starting of the arbitration, one of the party may go to the court relating to the interim measures, right? So after the arbitral award, the state sanction means within the meantime, within the certain grounds, the arbitral award has been not made. Suppose, for example, according to the arbitration agreement, the arbitral award not made. In that case, the parties which may go to the court of law relating to the set aside of the arbitral award. So let me clear it to you people. So even though arbitration is a private adjudicating mechanism, so the state final state recognition, some sort of sanctions from the state which will be existed. Coming to the ad hoc arbitration is a mechanism, complete party autonomy which exists, and as per according to the arbitration agreement, the parties appoint their arbitral tribunal. So the arbitral tribunal which will conduct the arbitration and which will make the arbitral award. Institutional arbitration is somewhat the institutional rules which will exist, institutional arbitration rules which will exist. So, according to the by writing an arbitration agreement, the parties which will submit their dispute to the particular arbitral institution to solve. So, only the particular to whatever the institution which is choosing by the parties, those rules which will be applicable to the conduct of the arbitration. Of course, they will choose their substantive law and right relating to the dispute is concerned. But procedural law is concerned, particular institutional rules. But in the ad hoc arbitration, the parties choose their even procedural law. That is the difference. Let me differentiate something about arbitration with other forms of alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. The arbitration is somewhat as an authoritative role, right? I said arbitration is binding in nature. Whatever the arbitral award, as it will be enforced as like as a decree of the court, which means the arbitration which is an authoritative role. But let me tell you people, so the other alternative dispute resolution methods is only a facilitator role. You take mediation, you take conciliation, you take anything. It's a facilitator role, right? But the arbitration which concern of an authoritative role. So in that concern, so the arbitration as a binding mechanism, right? The people prefer arbitration because of it is binding, because once the parties to the dispute which is investing time, which is investing money, means they should get a binding award. So that is the reason the arbitration, which is the very important alternate dispute resolution mechanism out of the mentioned methods. So let me go to the next slide, which talk about international commercial arbitration. So international commercial arbitration is the very pertinent and very important word, in case of we could take certain definition from Article 1 Clause 3 of the Model Law, or in India, it has been given under the section 2 clause 1 subclause F of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. So international commercial arbitration according to the UNICITRAL model law 1985. So in case of I elaborate something relating to the UNICITRAL model law 1985, the UNICITRAL model law 1985 basically which applicable to the ad hoc arbitration, not for institutional arbitration. So the ad hoc, model legislations by based on the model law, which derived from most of the states, because whoever the signatories and convention to most of the states which adopted a UNICITRAL model on 1985. Apart from that, let me tell you people. So the UNICITRAL model or rules which came into the picture in 1986, subsequently amended in 2006, 2010, which applicable to the ad hoc arbitration. But most of the famous institutions like SIOC, Singapore International Arbitration Center, Hong Kong International Arbitration Center, American Arbitration Association, etc. These people which opted UNICITRAL model law in toto, along with the so many new provisions like emergency arbitrator, third party funding in the arbitration, etc. These things which opted by the most famous developed jurisdiction, but still they following the UNICITRAL model law rules in their institutional rules. Right, that is very important aspect of the UNICITRAL model law 1985. So in a different lecture, we will see about altogether relating to the UNICITRAL model law 1985, the basic importance of the UNICITRAL model law 1985, what it covers generally, and what is the important merits under the this particular model law, and what provisions we have taken in our national legislation, the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. So coming to the domestic arbitration and international commercial arbitration. So domestic arbitration in India, which governed through the Part 1, basically means the recognition and enforcement where the seated in India. So basically, the domestic arbitration is so where the two parties belongs to the India or in the particular state, means in a particular country, uh, in international law we call as countries as a state, right? So the in the particular country where the two parties belongs to the same state, so same jurisdiction, then that will be considered into a domestic arbitration. But there is not an international commercial arbitration. So the definition, Article 1, Clause 3 of the model law, which given those things I will be dealing in the next slide. And our Section 2, Clause 1 and Clause F of the Act 1996, which taken a pertinent wording from UNICITRAL model law 1985. And subsequently, the judiciary which interpreted the definition of international commercial arbitration, like TDM Infrastructure Private Limited versus UE Development Corporation case. So from the Supreme Court, it got interpreted. And later on, through the Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Act 2015, the wordings in international commercial arbitration which has been changed. Those things we will see in some different lecture relating to the judicial involvement under the international commercial arbitration, maybe in the next lecture, right? I will make a separate lecture in relating to that, the judicial interpretation, and different wordings, how it got interpreted, what is the chronological way of the interpretation of international commercial arbitration, etc. So let me give today basically the legislative interpretation relating to the international commercial arbitration from the UNICITRAL model of 1985 through, because of it is an important international convention in this area. We have to see that first. Second, we need to see about our national legislation, Section 2, Clause 1, Subclause F of the our Act 1996. Yeah. Article 1 clause 3 of the model law. In arbitration is international, means international arbitration, which is talking about international arbitration and international commercial arbitration, whereas the similar type of words where the dispute should be commercial in nature. Then, of course, the international arbitration, which should be called as international commercial arbitration, right? But relating to the jurisdictional issues, relating to the finding of the arbitration, whether it is domestic or international arbitration, in that concern, international arbitration and international commercial arbitration, which do have same footing. So once an arbitration, which will be called as an international, if the parties to an arbitration agreement have at the time of the conclusion of that agreement their place of business in different states. As I said, different jurisdictions should be there. So then only, so the arbitration, which will be called as an international arbitration. According to the definition under the Article 1 Clause 3 of the Model Law 1985, the parties to the arbitration agreement means at the time of the conclusion of that agreement, means while deriving the arbitration agreement, their place of business in different states, means different countries, right? Then it is one of the cause of an and for international arbitration. So B, second point, one of the following places is situated outside the state in which the parties have their place of business. Again, further interpretation. The place of arbitration, if determined or pursuant to the arbitration agreement. So here, the arbitration agreement, which plays a very important role in finalization of it is a domestic arbitration or it is an international commercial arbitration, because altogether the procedures in the countries which are different relating to the domestic arbitration and international commercial arbitration, because while the arbitration agreement which drives what type of arbitration this is, whether it is a domestic arbitration or whether this is a international arbitration, because altogether the procedure which is different from the domestic arbitration and international arbitration. Once you misconfused relating to the international commercial arbitration into domestic arbitration, you will apply a wrong part in the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, whereas like similar in outside the countries also, in that case the lot of legal lacuna which will exist, and in the lot of cases in India which happened that already. So for that, the arbitration agreement should be clear, which is in international arbitration and or whether it is a domestic arbitration. The parties should be clear first while writing the arbitration agreement, whether the particular dispute which comes under the international arbitration or the particular dispute which comes under the domestic arbitration. Let me tell you, people. So, according to the Article 1, Clause 3 of the Model Law, while concluding the agreement, once it is to be called as international arbitration, so their place of business in different states. Suppose one of the particular place is situated outside the state in which the parties have their place of business, right? Suppose different places of business which existed to the one party, right? So one party, let me give an example here. One party belongs to India and one party belongs to the Singapore. So, but Indian party which will be having a different type of place of business, Indian party which is having business in United States of America, and Indian party which is also having a business in United Arab Emirates. Then what will be the understanding of in consideration relating to the international arbitration is the model law which talks about the place of arbitration, if determined, are in pursuant to the arbitration agreement. In that case, the Indian party which having the place of business in India, UAE, and USA, the arbitration agreement should specify about the place of business. Of course, the other party which will be having in Singapore the business is clear, but the Indian party which having three places of business, uh, he or she should be clear about the place of business relating to the particular dispute, and they have to mention in the arbitration agreement, right? The further conditions include any place where a substantial part of the obligation of the commercial relationship is to be performed, or the place with which the subject matter of the dispute is most closely concerned. Suppose the parties which do have mentioned relating to the place of business, it is clear, then it is absolutely fine. But the question which arises relating to the place of business, or the parties doesn't have mentioned relating to the place of business in international arbitration while writing the particular arbitration agreement, in that case, any place where a substantial part of the obligations, means a substantive law which governs, like where the obligations do arise, right, and where the commercial relationship which will get through, right, it is to be performed, or the place which with the subject matter of the dispute which is closely connected, right. So suppose the subject matter which is closely connected in the given example in India, then India will be considered Indian seat, Indian jurisdiction, which will be considered into a place of business. So that is one of the part. Number one, the parties need to derive in the arbitration agreement their place of business in case of number of places which exist. So in case of any confusion or which not mentioned, then where the dispute which is closely connected, where obligations of commercial relationship which arise, in that case, the international arbitration jurisdiction which will be decided. Then third point, apart from the mentioned points, the parties have expressly agreed that the subject matter of the arbitration agreement relates to more than one country, right? Um, out of the mentioned conditions, the parties also need to expressly agreed, right? Expressly means not impliedly. Expressly means written or oral, right? So the parties must themselves need to agree, right? The subject matter of the arbitration agreement relates to the more than one country. We remember international arbitration or international commercial arbitration, the simple difference with international arbitration, it is we're having the commercial relationship between the parties. That arbitration, which is called as an international commercial arbitration, the international commercial arbitration which comes from two different states. Their place of business should be there in two different states. They need to derive in arbitration agreement where close connection with to more than two to the one of the party, more than two place of businesses is there, more than one place of business is there. In that concern, the parties derives the place of business. In case of not derives, where the close connection which relates to the particular obligation of the substantial part of the commercial relationship which comes into the picture, right. So apart from that, the parties must and should agree relating to the place of business which is situated in more than one country. In that case only it is to be called as international arbitration according to the definition given under the article 1 clause 3 of the UNCITRAL model law 1985. Let me talk about something relating to the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, the definition relating to the international commercial arbitration. So, in the next slide, I have given this definition, section 2, clause 1, subclause F, which defined international commercial arbitration. So, international commercial arbitration means an arbitration relating to disputes arising out of legal relationship, whether contractual or not, considered as commercial under the law in force in India, and where at least one of the parties which belongs to the these mentioned following certain conditions. So it is saying that international arbitration or international commercial arbitration means the dispute which arising out of legal relationships, right? It should be a legal relationship between the parties. It should arise from legal relationship, whether contractual or not. Means some may be in agreement states. Contract means an agreement enforceable by law, as in case of, we remember section 2 clause of the Indian Contract Act 1872. So the particular dispute, whether it is an agreement in nature or it is maybe entire contract, so whether contractual or not, but it should be commercial. The legal dispute should be commercial. Now, non-commercial matter is not comes under the international commercial arbitration, right? The basic things we need to remember, as far as my interpretation is concerned, international commercial arbitration, two things. Number one, the commercial angle. Number two, the place of business, which need to be situated in two places, right? In that case, it is called as international commercial arbitration. And the more specific condition is under the law in force in India, right? It should be commercial under the law in force in India, right? Next, one of the party belongs to. In case of India, we are talking, in case of we take an example, one party which belongs to in India, then what about the other party, where at least one of the party should be? The interpretation given under the Section 2(1)(f) of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, an individual who is a national of or habitually resident in any country other than India, right? So a particular individual, a national of or even a habitual resident in any country other than India, right? So means particularly a foreign national which shall be considered as the other party in international commercial arbitration, whereas the one party is an Indian party, right? Even in case of the both the parties which belongs to the outside of the Indian state, but where the substantive law is situated in India, then also it is called as an international arbitration, or in case of the commercial under the law in force in India, which is called as international commercial arbitration, no doubt about that. But nevertheless, two parties, at least one of the parties in ICA, right? A foreign national means any individual who is a national of or habitually resident in any country other than India, right? Then a body corporate which incorporated in any country other than India, right? Means a foreign company. Body corporate means simply any company which established, or the correct nomenclature is incorporated in any country other than India. So that thing also called to be as mm, which comes under the parameter of an international commercial arbitration. Then an association or a body of individuals whose central management and control exercised in any country other than India. I said TDM Infrastructure versus UE Development Corporation. The all case is about subclause 2 and this other subclause 3 confusion. I will deal, as I said, I will deal in a separate lecture which relating to the judicial interpretation of that, and through the Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Act 2015, what came into the picture. So, in a basic understanding, an association or body of individuals whose central management and control is exercised in any country other than India, that would be, comes under international commercial arbitration. Then the government of a foreign country, right? In that case also, which is one party is an Indian party, and the other party is a government of a foreign country. Even an Indian government may be the one of the party, and the other party is the government of a foreign country, which shall be called into a international commercial arbitration. Let me summarize. So, what is an international commercial arbitration? International commercial arbitration means an arbitration relating to the dispute which arising out of legal relationship, but it should be commercial under the law in force in India, whether it may be contractual or not. An individual who is a national of habitual resident in any country other than India means a foreign national, or a company which established outside India through any other laws of India, not related to the Indian law, which incorporated outside the country, like in a foreign country. Then, even though a company which established in India, but whose central management and control is exercised in any country other than India, that is also an international commercial arbitration, or in the government of a foreign country. At least one of the party which need to be followed under the mentioned categories, right? Then only a particular arbitration is international arbitration, and once it is in commercial, it is called as an international commercial arbitration. The relevant international convention and definition we found through the Article 1, Clause 3 of the UNCITRAL model of 1985, Indian legislation, Section 2(1) of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. So, in case Basically, we summarize of this entire lecture relating to the introduction to the international commercial arbitration. So basically, the alternative dispute resolutions will be categorized into the arbitration, mediation, negotiation, conciliation, judicial settlement, mini trial, pre-neutral evaluation, etc. But let me tell very quickly about arbitration, which is binding, and the remaining things which are not binding. Right. Once the mini trial, which need to the in a court, which leads to the full trial and like a order and decree of the court, which may be binding, that is a different task. So, as a mini trial which are conducted by the private parties, generally which is not binding. Right. Arbitration, in case of specifically, we talk, it can be further divided into domestic arbitration and international arbitration. And the types of arbitration, which will include ad hoc arbitration, where the parties' autonomy, which will be more, and the parties appointed arbitral tribunal, which will conduct the arbitration and which will give the arbitral award. And in institutional arbitration, the specific arbitral institution which will conduct the arbitration and which will give the arbitral award. Right. Then we talked about the history and historical background of the arbitration jurisprudence in India. So regarding three legislations which existed before the present Act 1996, and somewhat the parts which mentioned under the present Act, the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, which we talked, and we seen the basic definition which derived from the International Convention, UNCITRAL Model 1985, relating to the definition of international commercial arbitration, and when the arbitration will be called as an international, so that we seen. Apart from that, the mentioned thing relating to the international commercial arbitration in section 2(1) of the Indian Arbitration Act also we covered. So this is relating to the various forms of alternative dispute resolution, and the basic understanding of the arbitration, and the basic types of arbitration, and how the arbitration which is in comes under the authoritative role, but the remaining alternative dispute resolutions which comes through as a facilitative role, right? And in case further I said, so where in the arbitration, even though it is a private adjudication, but the state control finally means the state can set aside the award, the court's role which existed, the differentiation I explained, and we understood the difference between the domestic arbitration, where the parties belongs to the same state, but in international arbitration, the parties belongs to the different jurisdictions and their place of business in different states, right? Which we derived from the from an international convention, or from even from our state legislation, right? The judicial interpretation I will come up with the next lecture. Thank you very much for the patience hearing. Thank you very much.